Imagine for a moment that you are standing in a city of lights and noise. It is a warm evening in Hong Kong. The streets are full of people. Lanterns glow above the market stalls. The smell of food is in the air. Children are running, old men are talking, and somewhere nearby, in a small, crowded apartment, a family is making a very difficult decision. They are looking at a boy. He is maybe 6 years old. He has bright eyes and small, quick hands, and they are about to send him somewhere far away. Not because they do not love him, but because the world is hard, and love alone cannot always feed a family. Now here is the question I want you to hold in your mind today. Can a person learn to fall so many times that falling itself becomes a kind of wisdom? Today, we are going to walk together into the real life of Jackie Chan. We are going to discover the boy behind the famous name, the body that gave everything to entertainment, and the one fall that hurt him more than any stunt ever could. 3 things, 1 story, a journey that will stay with you. So make yourself comfortable and let the story begin. Jackie Chan was born in Hong Kong on the 7th of April, 1954. His real name was Chan Kong Sang. In Cantonese, it means born in Hong Kong. His father, Charles Chan, worked as a cook. His mother, Li Chan, worked as a housekeeper. They were not rich people. They had come from mainland China, carrying very little. Life in Hong Kong was busy and difficult. Money was always tight, and there was one very hard problem. When Jackie was still a very small child, his father received a job offer in Australia. It was a real chance. A chance to build something better. But there was no space, no money, and no arrangement for a young boy to come along. So Jackie was sent to a place called the China Drama Academy, a school for Peking opera. On paper, it was a school. In reality, for a child of only 7 years old, it was a world completely without softness. The students woke up before the sun. They trained for many, many hours each day. They learned martial arts. The art of fighting using the body in controlled and powerful ways. They learned acrobatics, movements where the body flips, bends, and flies through the air. They learned singing, stage acting, and physical performance. And they learned something else, something that no child expects to learn. They learned how to hide pain. If you made a mistake, you were corrected. If you were slow, you were pushed to go faster. If you cried, life continued without waiting for you. This was not cruelty for the sake of cruelty. It was a tradition, a hard, old tradition that believed suffering created strength. But for a 7-year-old boy who missed his mother, who missed his father, who missed someone to say goodnight to him, it was simply lonely. Jackie later described those years as the hardest of his life, not because of the physical pain alone, but because of the silence that surrounded love. He was becoming strong on the outside, but inside, there was a quiet ache that never fully left him. Among the students at the academy, a small group was selected for public performance. They were called the 7 Little Fortunes. Jackie was one of them. These children performed in theaters. They were skilled. They were disciplined. They moved together like one breathing body, and the audiences loved them. But after every performance, when the lights went down, Jackie went back to his small mat, and the world was quiet again. He was not yet 16. He had already lived more difficulty than most people face in a lifetime. But he had also learned something that would shape his entire future. He learned that falling did not mean failing. You fall, you stand up, you try again, and again, and again. When Jackie was 17, he left the China Drama Academy. The outside world did not welcome him with open arms. He had no university degree. He had no money. He had no famous family name. He had only one thing, his body. A body trained for a decade. A body that could do things most people never dream of. And so he entered the Hong Kong film industry at the very bottom. He became a stuntman and a background extra. He was not the hero. He was the man who fell in the background. The man who crashed through the furniture. And the man who got kicked across the room and then disappeared from the screen. But Jackie watched everything. He watched with wide, hungry eyes. He watched the directors. He watched the lighting. He watched how a scene was built. He watched how a fight told a story. And somewhere deep inside that quiet, watchful young man, a dream was forming. One day, people will come to the cinema to see me, not to see me fall, but to see me rise. But the road to that dream would be much longer and stranger than he ever imagined. In the early 1970s, Hong Kong was falling in love with martial arts cinema, and at the center of that love was one man, Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee was not just a film star. He was a force of nature. He was precise. He was powerful. He moved like something between a human being and a sudden storm. Young men across Asia looked at him and felt something new. Possibility. Pride. Power. Jackie was one of those young men. He was still unknown. Still a stuntman. Still working for small pay and smaller credit. But one day, he got a chance to work on the same set as Bruce Lee. In one scene, Jackie had a brief role. He had to run toward Bruce Lee and be struck down. It was a few seconds, a blink of a moment. But in those few seconds, something happened. After the scene, Bruce Lee came over to check on him. It was a small act. Simple, quick. But for Jackie, it meant something enormous. A man who was already becoming a legend had looked at him, had seen him, had treated him not as furniture, not as a background piece, but as a human being. Jackie never forgot it. But he also understood something very clearly in that moment. He could not become Bruce Lee. He should not try to become Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee was controlled, serious, perfect, clean, every movement deliberate, every expression precise. Jackie was something else entirely. He was fast, yes. But he was also funny. He was also clumsy in a way that felt real. He could be in danger and somehow make you laugh at the same time. He looked like someone who could actually get hurt. And that was his gift, not despite the imperfection. Because of it, it took years for the film industry to understand this. Producers kept trying to make Jackie fit into old shapes. Be more serious. Be more like Bruce Lee. Be the perfect warrior. But Jackie resisted, quietly, patiently. He kept training. He kept studying comedy. He studied Buster Keaton, a legendary silent film comedian who used his whole body to tell stories. He studied Harold Lloyd, another old master who found comedy inside danger. He began to understand that action and laughter could live in the same scene. That a falling chair could be a punchline. That a ladder could be a dance partner. That danger could have rhythm. Then, in 1978, a film changed everything. Snake in the Eagle's Shadow. For the first time, Jackie's real personality was on the screen. He was not the silent warrior. He was the underdog. The young man who failed, who got hurt, who was embarrassed, who tried again. And the audience responded like a crowd, finding water in a desert. They loved it. Then came Drunken Master, another martial arts comedy. And now Jackie Chan was not just a name in the credits. He was a reason people bought a ticket. He had found his voice. It had taken over 20 years of life, a painful childhood, long years in the background, and one small moment of kindness from a legend. But he had found it. Now here is where the story becomes interesting. Because finding your voice in Hong Kong is one thing. Taking that voice to the world is something much harder. In the early 1980s, Jackie Chan turned his attention west. To America, to Hollywood. He believed that if he could reach American audiences, the whole world would follow. In 1980, he starred in The Big Brawl. It was his first major English-language leading role. He trained hard for it. He prepared carefully. He arrived with everything he had. But the film did not succeed in the way anyone hoped. The problem was not Jackie's talent. The problem was understanding. Hollywood in 1980 did not have a category for Jackie Chan. He was not a Western action hero. He was not Bruce Lee. He was something new. And new things are often frightening to systems built for old things. The studios did not know how to present him. They gave him roles that did not fit. They edited out the things that made him unique. They smoothed away the humor, the creativity, the danger, the improvisation. Improvisation means creating in the moment without a fixed plan. What was left was only a shadow of what Jackie Chan truly was. He also appeared in the Cannonball Run in 1981. American viewers saw him. Some enjoyed him. But the film did not unlock the door he was looking for. There was also the language. Jackie's English was not strong in those years. He could feel ideas inside him. Beautiful, complicated, exciting ideas about movement, comedy, story, and action. But when he opened his mouth in English, the words came slowly, sometimes wrongly, sometimes not at all. Maybe you have felt something like this. You have a thought, a feeling, an idea that is alive and clear inside you. But in another language, it becomes smaller, quieter, as if the translation takes away something essential. Jackie felt this. He felt invisible in a different way than before. Not invisible because he was a background stuntman. Invisible because he could not fully express himself. He returned to Hong Kong, not as a defeated man, but as a man who understood something important. If Hollywood would not come to him, he would build something so powerful, so original, so undeniable, that Hollywood would eventually have to come to him. And so he built. In Project A, released in 1983, he fell from a clock tower in a scene that made audiences hold their breath. In Police Story, released in 1985, he slid down a pole covered with electric lights in a shopping mall. The lights shattered. Glass rained down, and Jackie walked away with burns on his hands. But the shot was perfect. In Armor of God, released in 1986, he nearly died. A scene went wrong. He fell from a tree. He hit his head on a rock. He was taken to hospital for emergency surgery. Surgery means a doctor operating on the body to fix something inside. There was a hole in his skull. A small piece of bone had entered his brain. He survived. After he recovered, he went back to work. This is who Jackie Chan was. His body was the story. And he told that story with everything he had. But the story was also adding up. Every fall left something behind. Every stunt wrote a new sentence in the language of scars and pain. Jackie was building a legend. But legend has a price. And he was paying it, quietly, every single day. For many years, Jackie Chan was one of the most famous entertainers in Asia. He was a star across Hong Kong, Japan, South Korea, China, and many parts of Southeast Asia. But the rest of the world still did not fully see him. Then, in 1995, Rumble in the Bronx was released in North America. American audiences watched it, and they sat up straight. Who is this man? He is not just fighting. He is using the environment around him, a bicycle, a refrigerator, a shopping cart, as a weapon, as a shield, as a dance. He is laughing in the middle of danger. He is getting hurt and getting back up and smiling. He feels real. He feels alive. He feels like someone who is actually there, in the moment, giving everything. Rumble in the Bronx opened a door. Then, in 1998, Rush Hour walked through that door and filled the room with light. Starring alongside Chris Tucker, an American comedian known for his fast, high-energy style, Jackie created something no one had predicted. Two men who could not be more different. Jackie was quiet, precise, and physical. Tucker was loud, improvising, and verbal. Verbal means using words as his main tool, not the body. Together, they created a chemistry. Chemistry here means a natural energy between two people that makes magic happen. Rush Hour became a massive international success. It earned close to $250 million worldwide. And finally, after almost 20 years of trying, Jackie Chan was a genuine global star. After Rush Hour came Shanghai Noon, Rush Hour 2, and many more films. He voiced the character Master Monkey in Kung Fu Panda. He starred in The Karate Kid alongside Jaden Smith. His name was everywhere. His face was on posters in countries that had once never heard of him. He had money. He had awards. He had recognition. He had what he had always wanted. The world was finally looking. If you enjoy stories like this, consider subscribing to Woven English. New stories arrive every week. Come and listen with us. But success, as Jackie would soon discover, has a very complicated relationship with happiness. Because while Jackie was climbing the mountain of fame, something was happening at home, something quieter, something that no amount of applause could fix. For decades, Jackie Chan did something almost no other major film star would do. He performed his own stunts. In a world of safety and insurance and legal agreements, Jackie looked at a dangerous scene and said, "Let me do it." Not because he did not understand the risk, but because he believed in something deeply. If the danger is real, the emotion is real. If the audience sees his face in the dangerous moment, they feel something true. And truth, he believed, was worth the cost. The cost was enormous. His nose was broken multiple times. His cheekbone was fractured. His skull was cracked. His spine was injured. His ribs were broken. His ankle was cracked during the filming of Rumble in the Bronx. And he completed the film wearing a boot painted to look like a shoe. So the audience would never know. His fingers were dislocated. Dislocated means pushed out of their natural position in the joint. Every part of his body carries a story. At the end of several of his films, Jackie included a special section. He showed the bloopers, the moments when stunts went wrong. He showed himself lying on the ground, being carried away, waiting for a doctor. It was funny, in a way, but it was also a window into what had been given for your entertainment. As Jackie grew older, the body that had served him for so many years began to speak a different language, the language of pain, of limitation, of age. He could no longer move the way he once moved. His knees ached. His back was stiff in the mornings. His old injuries returned in cold weather, and slowly, he began to do fewer dangerous stunts. He began to be more careful. This was not weakness. This was wisdom. But it also forced him to face a question he had been moving too fast to hear before. If you take away the stunts, who is Jackie Chan? The answer, he was beginning to discover, was someone much more complicated. someone who had given everything to work, and someone who was still learning how to give to the people closest to him. Because while Jackie was performing his falls on screen, there was a boy growing up without him at home. In 2016, something happened that Jackie Chan had never expected. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, the organization that gives out the Oscar Awards, the most famous film awards in the world, decided to honor him. He received an Honorary Academy Award. Honorary means given as a special recognition, not through competition. It was a way of saying, your life's work matters. We see what you gave. Jackie stood on the stage at the Governor's Awards ceremony. He had been in the film industry for over 50 years. He had made more than 150 films. He had entertained billions of people. And now, here was the moment. Here was the golden statue. Here was the standing ovation. Applause where everyone in the room stands up together to show deep respect, he cried. And watching him cry. Many people in the room cried with him, because it was not just about the award. It was about the road that led there. Oh. The boy from the China Drama Academy, the stuntman nobody remembered, the actor rejected by Hollywood, the man who was told to be someone else, the body that paid in broken bones for every second of laughter it produced. All of that was in the room that night. But here is the thing about awards. They arrive after the journey, not during it. They come when much of the hard work is already behind you, and sometimes they arrive at the same time as regret. Because as Jackie stood on that stage, he was also a man who had looked back at his own life and found places of deep sorrow. His relationship with his son, J.C. Chan, had been difficult. Jackie had been absent for much of J.C.'s childhood. He was always traveling, always filming, always chasing the next project. He told himself he was building a better future for his family. But Jackie knew, better than most, what it felt like to be a child waiting for a parent who does not come. He had lived that feeling himself at the China Drama Academy, and yet, in a painful way, his own son had grown up with a similar distance. In 2014, J.C. was arrested in Beijing on drug-related charges. The news traveled around the world. Jackie spoke publicly about it. He said he felt shame. He said he felt sadness, and when you listened to him speak, you could hear something beneath those words, not anger, not judgment, grief. The grief of a father who understood, too late, that he had been present for the world, but absent for his child. Success had given Jackie many things: fame, money, recognition, power. But success had not given him back the quiet Tuesday evenings, the school plays he missed, the ordinary dinners where a boy talks about his day, and a father actually listens. Success cannot buy time that has already passed. And that is, perhaps, the most important thing Jackie Chan has taught us. Not with a stunt, not with a fight scene, but with the simple, aching truth of a father looking back. Now, here is the moment I promised you at the beginning, the fall that hurt him the most. At the start of this story, I made you a promise. I told you there was a fall that hurt Jackie Chan more than any stunt, more than the skull fracture in Armor of God, more than the burns from Police Story, more than every broken bone from every film in his long career. And now you know what it was. It was not a fall from a building. It was not a fall from a clock tower. It was the fall of a father who moved too fast and missed too much. The fall of a man who believed that giving the world his body was enough. The fall of realizing that the people who needed him most were not the audiences in the cinema. They were the quiet people at home. This is the fall that you cannot see on a blooper reel. This is the fall that does not get a round of applause when you stand up from it. This is the fall that lives inside you, quietly, for a long time. Jackie Chan spent most of his life falling on the outside, falling and getting up. Falling and getting up. He was magnificent at it. But the inside fall, the quiet one, that one took much longer, and perhaps he is still learning to stand up from it. This does not make him a small man. It makes him a human one, a man of enormous courage and enormous blind spots. A man who could walk through fire, but struggled to sit still. A man who gave millions of strangers a reason to smile, but forgot sometimes to turn that smile toward the people who were already there. We do not tell this story to judge him. We tell it because it is the truest part of who he is. Jackie Chan is not a movie character. He is not an action figure. He is a person who grew up without enough love, who spent a lifetime earning love from strangers, and who eventually had to ask himself a painful question. Was it worth it? Only he can answer that. But his story, with all its beauty and all its sadness, is a gift to us, because it asks us to look at our own lives before the lights go quiet, before the applause fades, before the camera stops. What are we building? And who are we building it for? Jackie Chan's life teaches us something that goes far beyond cinema. Falling is not failure. Falling is how we learn. A child falls and learns to walk. A student falls and learns to try again. A father falls and slowly, painfully, learns what truly matters. And that is exactly what you are doing right now, in this moment. You are learning a language. And learning a language means falling too. Mispronouncing a word. Forgetting a phrase. Feeling small in another tongue. But every time you return, you are standing up. Every time you listen to one more story, you are moving forward. Every time you sit down and let English into your heart, you are becoming someone new. The road is long, but you are already on it. And that, dear listener, is everything. Tell me in the comments, which part of Jackie Chan's story moved you the most? The little boy left behind at the China Drama Academy. the stuntman who nearly died and went straight back to work, or the father looking back with quiet regret. If these stories help your English grow, subscribe to Woven English and walk with us every week. Thank you for listening. I will see you in the next story.